Hi guys, it's Charlotte and welcome back to another video all about Squarespace SEO. In today's video, we are going to be talking about why search intent is the secret weapon for Squarespace SEO. Basically what I mean by that is that search intent is a foolproof way for you to get your website to show up on the first page of Google search results, and straight up, like, search intent is a criminally overlooked area of SEO, and I'm so excited to be talking about this today. And in this video, I'm going to be, explaining the strategy, but I'm also going to be screen sharing and showing you using like live examples and real keywords and stuff. So if you're someone who appreciates understanding but also seeing, then you're in the right place, okay? So when it comes to search intent, we think about basically what search intent is understanding what someone is looking for when they're typing words into Google, right? Like if you type a word or a combination of words into Google, what are you looking to find? What kind of online content will be of value to the person that's doing the search? And remember, the way that Google decides what websites to show up in online search results is by analyzing all the content related to those keywords, right? And then deciding based on that, like, how do they fall into the rankings? So if you understand search result, you can actually use that to your benefit, because it helps you to create the right type of content that Google will say, hey, this is the best content related to this search term and these keywords, and therefore you can rank up higher in search results. And in turn, this is going to drive more free organic traffic to your website, and from there you can lead to more conversions, more product sales, more inquiries about your products or your services, or if you have a blog that does like affiliate marketing, then you can get more, leads that way and stuff. So search intent is huge. And when you kind of start playing around with it, you'll see it's actually kind of fun. So now that you understand what search intent vaguely is, let's go into it in a little bit more detail, okay? So pretty much, if you understand search intent, if you consider like what someone is typing into Google, you want to know that information because it takes away the guesswork when you then create the website content, right? And this matters whether you have like a services-based or informational website, whether you have an e-commerce website, so you're thinking about it for the products and the product descriptions you have, whether you have like that blog that does like affiliate linking, whatever it is. If you understand search content, you can use it to your advantage to create the right kind of website content that is going to rank. So some of the questions that we might ask ourselves to get rid of that guesswork is, when someone types words into Google, what are they looking for? What kind of content or what kind of answers is going to be helpful and valuable to them? You might also think about questions like, if someone types something into Google, are they looking for a solution? Are they looking for like a comparison? Are they looking for like a problem that needs to be solved? Do they just want to get somewhere? All of those are different things that you can evaluate when it comes to search intent. So with that being said, there's like 4 main areas of search intent that someone might be using. And I'm going to screen share right now so that you can kind of like see these in action. Okay. So I think you can see my screen here. So let's talk about the first example, is something called navigational searches, or a navigational query. Okay, so using this might be an example. So someone goes to Google and they type in Gardener's World. And Gardener's World, shout out if you know it, it is with one of my favorites, Monty Don, and it's basically like a gardening show. I used to put it on all the time in the background when it was on Netflix and I was doing my client work. And so in this case, I would literally go to Google and type Gardener's World because I just want to navigate to the content. That's it. Same thing too, if someone knows they want to work with me, Charlotte O'Hara, they would just type in Charlotte O'Hara and go to my website, right? So that's navigational. Another type of search query that someone might have is an informational query. So if you've spent any time on Instagram or TikTok anytime around the New Year's, you've probably heard or seen mention of 75 hard. So if someone types 75 hard into Google, they're just going to find this website that kind of explains what the program is, right? Like if you click on this, you just see kind of like what the heck is the 75 hard program, right? So that's what, hold on, I've got these pop-ups coming up here. that is an example of an informational thing. You just are like, what the heck are all of these people talking about? Or like, I want to learn more about this particular subject or whatever, okay? A third type would be what we call a comparison. And you'll often see this when it comes to products or something, right? So compare A versus B. Someone might talk about like, Nike versus Adidas black sneakers because they just want to see like, what are some of the options? Which one is better? Should I do this or that, right? So a comparison is good too. And if you think about kind of like where someone is along like from a purchasing point of view, if they just are, want to navigate to something or if they want information about it, they're like pretty far back. But as you keep moving forward into comparison, then that means they're getting a little bit closer to buying or a little bit closer to a conversion, right? Because they want to see like, what are the things? And then the next one, which is kind of, we call it like a purchasing or a transactional query. This is if someone types in, let's say like buy Converse Chuck Taylors, like straight up, you know what you want, you're here for it, you want to buy, right? So if you do this kind of search, you can see in the online searches, it's all just like how to buy it online. Do you buy it direct from the website, a different one, like all that sort of thing. So those are the kind of like the four main types of search intent. So using those four, like if you have that in mind, now I want you to think about your own website, right? Like if you think about the main keywords that you have associated with your website, what is the search intent behind those sorts of things? So a little exercise that you can do, I always recommend people do it. It's kind of fun, but just like grab a pen and paper and write a list of some of the main words or like search word key phrases, like combinations of words, whatever, that you want someone to type into Google, okay, to land on your website. And then from here, you can then play around and actually type those into Google to see kind of, like have a better understanding of the search intent behind those type of queries. Okay. So with that in mind, now that you understand the four main categories of search intent, the next thing that you want to do is to analyze the rankings. Okay. And analyzing the rankings is really like a fun thing to do because this is your chance to kind of like creep on the competition and get some insights to see what exists already and how can you basically like tweak your own website content or create new content for your website that is going to blow past all of that existing content so that you can show up higher in search results. So that's what I'm going to go through and give you some like real examples now. Okay. So pretty much what you want to do here is think about how you can use search intent to your advantage to rank for those target keywords. And we're talking here about all different types of aspects on your website, whether it's the homepage, whether it's for your services page, a blog post that maybe you integrate with affiliate marketing, a product page, how you can get a really robust product description that's going to rank. All these sorts of things, all these variations of website content, you're still going to apply the search intent principle so that you can then get those bits of content to rank. Okay, so now let's move on. Hold on, I got to flip over my notes here because I can't remember everything off the top of my head here. Okay, so now let's go through and see how it plays out. Okay, so one of the things that I want to say is that in old school SEO advice, they would say that if you want your website to rank, you just need a lot of long form content. Okay. And long form content would often come in the form of like a blog post. It's like 2,000 words or more. But the thing is, I'm going to show you that when we start analyzing website content and connecting that with search intent, sometimes that recommendation to just focus on long form content may or may not be the only solution. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. But anyways, now let's talk about really seeing like what shows up in search results and how you can use that to your advantage when creating high quality content. Okay. So here, if we're thinking about like how we want to actually like it, how we want to evaluate some things, let's use a few examples. So, I work with a lot of photographers. So maybe if you're a photographer or any other kind of like services-based business, this will be a really good example for you, okay? So in this case, imagine someone types like Phoenix wedding photographer or like replace Phoenix with your own city. Okay, I want you to go through and look and think about like, okay, what kind of content is someone looking for when they type Phoenix wedding photographer in? Do they want like information? Do they want comparison lists? Like what are they looking for? And then compare that to what is currently ranking. So if I'm going through these search results, you can see that you have like, you know, the Knot has something, and it's basically just like an amalgamation of a bunch of different options. Same thing here, 25 best, top wedding photographers in Phoenix, blah, blah, blah. But then we start getting to individual photographers' websites, right? And see here, that's just linking to the homepage. Again, another photographer's homepage. Here, this is going down into, you know, kind of like a subpage or like a blog post or whatever. Again, here, next one. You know, this is not the homepage, but like another photographer kind of like services page, homepage here, another one, homepage here. So like this gives you an example that if you're trying to rank for Phoenix wedding photographer or some other kind of similar thing, then you're probably trying to rank your website as a whole or your homepage, right? And then I want to compare that to, let's say someone types like selenite charging crystal. Okay, because in this case, maybe they're looking for a product. So you'll see some of those in the search results. You can go through and be like, oh, some of this is straight up just like, you know, an Etsy listing or whatever. But others in this particular search, and again, this one's kind of like inspired by some past client stuff, is that, you know, you might be looking for like a blog post that gives a bit more informational. So like an article style, right? So, you know, you've got a combination here of products, product descriptions, purchase online, but then also some more like informational content. So you've got a bit more of a combo here, right? And again, same thing too, like here's just another example, like, you know, for an interior designer, because I work with a bunch of those too. You know, you're looking through for some of the features that you have, you know, like, is it a combo of reviews? Is it individual websites? Like all these sorts of things. And once you know that, you can see like, all right, here's what's already ranking. Now we're going to move into the next stage, which is having the, let me restart. Now that you see what's already ranking, now you can use that and the search intent behind these kind of queries to then see, okay, how can I make my content as good as, if not better? As good as, if not better. This is one of the favorite things that I love to do, because in this, you get to creep through a bunch of the examples and see what are these websites that are currently ranking, what are they doing, right? So this is kind of a really fun thing. Hold on, I'm gonna make myself like, you know, kind of like bigger here, if I can, to start talking about this. Yeah, okay, so this is a really fun thing, because once you start playing around and seeing like what is the content on these actual web pages, you know, are we talking about like, you know, a certain article? Like what are some of the things I want you to consider is like, what is the length of that article? Are these long form content? You know, is it maybe like 1,000 words, 1,500 words or something? If you want to make your content as good as, if not better, so that it can rank higher, then you need to do as many, if not more words, right? The overall thing that I want you to keep in mind is how can you add more value to the person that's doing this particular online search? And some other factors that you might want to consider are maybe like, what kind of media are they using, right? So if you go through these search results that you have here, kind of in the background, and if you see that maybe they are only using stock images in some of their pages, maybe then this is your opportunity to go through and add custom photography and make sure that it's really well named, right? Or maybe you see that for your search term, maybe none of the results contain a video, right? And maybe this is your opportunity to include a video so that you can get that page higher ranking. And the reason for this is that like, it's fairly easy to just write a bunch of text, right? You know, like all things considered, you can write an article, you can write text, a product description, a blog post, services page, you can write that pretty easily, but it takes more effort to do a video, right? You have to like record the video, produce it, upload it, like optimize it, all that sort of thing. So this is where you can stand apart and set yourself ahead by including that other type of media. You might also want to include like a graphic or a chart or a like table, any other kind of like media thing that you can incorporate on the page will be better. And don't just do one image and then it's done, right? Like if you see that all of the other examples only have maybe like one image on it, how can you be as good as, if not better? That means adding more images and more valuable media content. Okay. Another thing that I want you to think about too is the user experience of the content that you're going to create, right? So again, going back to search intent, think about like, what does someone want to see? If it's informational and you then need to create like a really good, high quality, like piece of content all about informational stuff, then you want to make sure that you're doing things like making it really easy to read. That would be doing like headers, right? Like, are you doing a hierarchy of headers? If someone's skimming through all of the content, can they read that easily? Can they jump to the section of text that's particularly interesting to them? Are you using things like bulleted points, a numbered list, small, short paragraphs that are easy to read? Like, people don't want to just see a big chunk of text. That's going to be like a bad thing for them. So they don't like, they're going to be like, oh, no. So you don't want to do that. You want to use natural language as well too. So remember, think about that, like, unless you're specifically targeting people who are experts, you should never assume that someone has information or knowledge already. So therefore, with that in mind, when you're creating all of this new content, you want to think about like, who is it for and how can you dumb it down into the simplest, most like easy to understand way. So use natural language, avoid like tech jargon or like industry speak. Try not to just like assume that someone knows what an acronym means or anything like that, right? So think about like, first of all, rewind. Who is doing this search? What are they looking for? Then how can you create the best quality content around it? Okay. Another thing that you might want to look at, okay, so hold on. I've talked about word count, paragraphs, design, user expect. Oh yeah, so pretty much like thinking back to it, when you understand what search intent is and you compare it to what already exists in the online searches, then you can use that for your own advantage on your website, right? So go back to what I said before, make it as good as, if not better than what already is there. So go ahead, look at the top results and be like, okay, do I need to create a brand new page on my website so that I can rank higher? Or do I need to optimize an existing page on your website? Okay, so those are two very different things. Creating a brand new page or brand new blog post, brand new product description, whatever, that's very different than going back and optimizing something that already exists but isn't performing as well as you want it to be. So using that in mind, like, keep these same principles, use that as your guiding thing. Think about like, what is someone looking for? What already exists? How can I do it better? Or how can I do it like just as good, if not better? You know, just as good means like something to differentiate, right? So again, the focus should be on adding value, giving someone exactly what they're looking for when they search for a particular search term. You know, so if it's informational versus a direct product link versus like a blog post that, you know, provides whatever, like those are all really, really good things to keep in mind there. And if you always put that searcher, the person doing the online search, at the forefront, then you're going to be able to create the right kind of website content with them in mind. Because remember, you are trying to reach your ideal clients, your ideal customers, your dream blog readers, whatever it is. You're trying to find ways to create content that is exactly what they're looking for. So if you kind of connect all of the dots here, then you're going to be able to use that to build really strategic website content. And we'll probably do another video that talks about how to actually, you know, like sit down and come up with your like strategic content plan, and using this to like, okay, now that you have ideas of what you want to write about, now that you know like what the competition's doing, how do you actually go ahead and create that content? I think that's going to have to be a different video because that's a whole other can of worms. But what I really want you to take away from this particular video is really the importance of search intent and how you can use search intent to help create really high quality content for your website that is going to help you rank on the first page of Google for those target keywords. Because remember, once you start ranking on Google with that, you're going to be able to take advantage of all of that free organic traffic, and then you can go ahead and convert it to sales, inquiries about your products, your services, like all that sort of thing. So before you go, I want to quickly mention that I have a Squarespace SEO checklist, and I'm going to link to it down below. So if you're watching it on YouTube, just check in at the description. And if you're interested in anything about Squarespace SEO, growing your website and stuff, this is going to be an incredibly valuable resource for you. So take a look at the Squarespace SEO checklist, and it's totally free. I know that you'll like it, and that's why I'm mentioning it, because I know that it will add value to you. You can also take a look at the other videos that I have here on my YouTube channel, or all of the other blog posts I have over on my website. So if you're interested in SEO, Squarespace, growing your website, all of that sort of thing, I've got you covered with so much content, resources, freebies, trainings, and just enjoy going down the rabbit hole. I think it's going to be really fun for you. And if you like this video, give it a like, leave me a comment. I want to hear that this is the kind of content that you're appreciating. And you can even subscribe to my channel to make sure that you don't miss any more of the upcoming Squarespace SEO videos that are going to be uploaded on the channel over the next little while. So guys, thank you so much for watching this. I hope that it has been very helpful for you, and I will see you again soon in another video.